In this video, we're going to be making a soft tissue gum for this implant model. So we do this before we cut and embed the analogs into the model. Here are the analogs. So we do this beforehand, and this has been done after these scan bodies have been aligned. Simply click on your model, shift right click to place the cursor. Go to your gum module and click on Draw Gum. This will extrude one vertex from the other using the G key and the E key, left click all the way. So position this tissue where you would like it to be above the surface of the gum. Now this is a little bit of an update to the previous way we did it. And this video will then also be found in the video section button over here. When we get to the other side, shift left click and F to fuse, or click on this button over there. Now manipulate the model to a good scene so that it can extrude away from us. Transparent view can sometimes help with that. So because we can see where these implants are and we'd like them to extrude, so we need to calculate sort of an average where it's going to extrude. I'm looking at this one and these here, so we don't want it like this, for example. So transparent will help us achieve this. Then we're going to click on design. Now everything else has disappeared and has left these in place. We would like to have a good solid model, so it's not a good idea to have them only embedded, these implant housings only embedded a third of the way or something. We need enough bulk material of the model going around these implant housings. Note that these vertices have been highlighted. In the event that you unfortunately deselect them, then just click on Apex to select them again. Now this is quite good for single implants, but when it comes to a horseshoe shape, it can be a bit tricky. So I can use the G key, but as you can see, this is a horseshoe shape, even if I use the S key to scale, so it becomes a bit tricky. So in this event, we're going to be manipulating the mesh a little bit. So I'm going to be clicking on, say, using the C key, I'll choose a few. The proportional editing tool is on, and then I'm going to use the G key just to move this mesh down so that we can get some more bulk of the model. And we're going to do the same over here. So Alt A, C, I'm going to just brush here like this. Use a G key and pull this mesh down. And here as well. So I'll take one vertex, GZ, G is in the Z direction, and we're going to pull this up a bit like this. And GZ to move this down. So we're going to do this for all of them. Here, for example, we can do this from both sides as well. GZ, and give it some more bulk like that. That's looking good. The C key to brush, right click to deselect that, GZ, and moving it like this, GZ, until we've got a good coverage. So once we're satisfied with this, note that we don't want it to overlap. Then we can continue. So just give it a good visual inspection. Here we'd like this to go down a bit, like that. and here up a bit. That should do the job. Now what we need to do is we need to click on the solidify. The solidify is going to make it 0.1 millimeter in thickness. So this depends on your printer and how accurate it is. You can make it thicker or thinner. Also note that the cutting tool will always be above the mesh, because the coding is actually geared up to have it above the surface of the model. We'd like to check a few things though, like here for example, we don't want it to be too thin, because if this separates from the model, we're going to have a very sharp edge. So select it, tab, click on that again, the proportional editing is on, the magnet is off, and we're going to just move this outwards a little bit like this. And we can do that with any other place where we need to change it. Over here, for example, we can do exactly the same thing. So we can move it out of the mesh like this. So this is a little bit tricky where the Ruge is. Just using the G key and moving it out like that. Then we can click on cut. Cut model. Okay, so if it doesn't cut, go into object mode and click on cut. So this is our tissue model, and if you're wondering how we're going to make the actual holes through there, we're going to use the component module and continue in the next video. Now in this video we're going to be cutting out the tissue holes. So we're going to go to the component module, select your model, select object being cut, which is your model, select your implant housing, click on this one here, you cannot forget this one, and bring it above the surface and below the surface. Make sure it actually comes out of the model. Then we're going to cut this one, and then we're going to just quickly inspect to see if it is cut, which it has. This is actually quite important, just to make sure that the Boolean unions and differences always work. So here again, up and down, make sure it extends outwards, and apply. Okay, we're going to have a look at the X-ray mode, and that's looking very good. So we're going to select the model again, select this one, extend up and out, and clean. Okay, we're going to just quickly have another look, and this has also been perfect. So if it doesn't cut, you may have to expand the cutting tool just a little bit to make sure that it cuts. So that's looking good. Select it there. Always check your work. That's looking good. And apply. Excellent. So let's have a quick look at the model. These have been unified to our model. So in edit mode, we can see they've been unified. Let's hide the scan bodies and analogs. So now you may be wondering how we're going to get these holes through there. Now this is actually quite easy. We're going to expose our hole cutters. Now these hole cutters, we're going to select them because those are going to be our objects that are going to be making the cut. And I'm going to jump to the model designer, the insert tool, because with the insert tool we can cut multiple objects. This is the object being cut, and these are the objects that are going to be making the cut. So these are the inserts. Click name insert, and then what we're going to do is we're going to apply just a small offset, just so that they can slip in nicely. Apply that, remesh it, and cut the holes. Now the holes have been cut, but we've got these remnants still over here. So in order to get rid of that, tab, select your mesh, go to the model designer and click on the clean button, this button over here. Okay, so here we go, we've got our tissue model, and we're just going to give it another color because that button has actually changed our color. So here we go, give it a pink color, and this concludes that. So let's hide the whole cutters. This is our tissue model and our scan bodies, and everything is intact and ready to go. Now there's just one more thing I'd like to mention, and that is you may be wondering why the holes don't go all the way through, and this is because these capsules holding these have not been designed in this way, but in some of the actual implants, analogs, they have been. So if you wanted to puncture a hole through there, that's quite easy to do. You just go into the model designer, you look at it, and then you can just make a small hole going through this. Shift right click, model designer, go to your curve cutting tool, S to scale it down, G, and then keep the outside like that, and then accept that. So you can then push these analogs out of the model. And that sort of completes the video.